Alright, the core series is complete. We've now moved on to pre-written campaigns. There's only 3 out at this point. 4 if you count Lost Mines of Phandelver.
Yeah.
Which I guess technically is 1. I have very minimal experience playing Princes of Apocalypse. I flipped through the book very casually. You ran, and I have played Hoard of the Dragon Queen.
Done.
We are in the midst of Rise of Tiamat right now, and I've ran the first chapter of Lost Mines of Phandelver twice. So, we have some experience with the pre-written campaigns.
Yep.
Why don't you talk, I guess, just a quick reference. This is made by Satchwat's gaming company, Princes of the Apocalypse. I think that's Kobold Press?
Yes, Kobold Press.
So Hoard of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat are made by Kobold Press. So keep that in mind. Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast kind of outsource the pre-written campaigns, at least so far, to third-party groups to do most of the work. So you really, when comparing Princes of the Apocalypse to Hoard of the Dragon Queen 1, this came out significantly later with the Monster Manual and Dungeon Master Guide rules already out. Hoard of the Dragon Queen came out before, I think, both of those were out. So that's something to keep in mind. So there's refinement, but it's also a different gaming company, so the rules and the way things are handled may be different. So why don't you talk about that book?
Oh, me scusi. Overall, this was the first time I ran a pre-written campaign.
Or any campaign, really.
Or any campaign, really. It had some really cool stuff. It had some really cool ideas. Some really well thought out characters. Cool dungeons, which is something as like running a game is always kind of, I don't want to say difficult, but kind of tedious is creating a dungeon. It has some cool stuff, lots of cool role-playing options, role-playing opportunities. Overall, really good. Did you enjoy playing it?
I did. There were, most of the issues that I had were kind of stuff we already talked about, just as someone who's ran games in the past, looking at it and go like, really? No save for that?
Yeah.
And that's just the way the book is written.
Yep.
But, also, again, there was no Dungeon Master Guide for those rules at that point, so this book was really the end-all, be-all. There was nothing to reference back to. And then most of the other stuff was mostly my party and decisions that they made.
Yeah, that's it.
But a lot of it is, again, so I guess we'll just focus on this book for right now. Things that we both kind of realized, like the game will basically want to lead you toward making a certain kind of decision, and then lead you away from that decision immediately after, and like if you're following the logic of the game and the way you should be playing it, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I'm going to give you an example. Spoiling alert. Spoiler alerting? Spoiler alerting.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. If you're going to be a player in this campaign soon, just go away until I do the timeout thing. Then you can come back in at time in. So now I'm doing timeout. Alright, timeout. In the first episode, which is how they broke it down in here, there is a blue dragon attacking a town, like an adult blue dragon. And at one point, one of the missions that your party gets is the blue dragon is attacking a turret, and they're supposed, or not a turret, a tower, and they're supposed to fire at it and try and get it to go away. And they're level 1 characters, and it's an adult blue dragon. So it says specifically, like, make sure you show your party how powerful this is, that it can kill you in one breath weapon. Then, they'll attack it, and if it does, it's 15 damage or 1 critical hit, then the dragon gets disinterested and goes away. So I did. I made sure that they knew it could kill him in one shot. And what was the logical reaction to that?
Run away.
Yeah. They were just like, yeah, we're not going to go near that thing. It can kill us in one hit. So it was kind of counterintuitive.
As a player in this game, and a veteran of Dungeons & Dragons, I'm like, level 1 character, no! I'm not going anywhere near this dragon. We barely made it through the night with the amount of encounters that had happened at that point. And, there's a character that's sort of, I guess he's more prominent of an NPC, and we're like, come on, get out of the tower, your people aren't doing anything. We want to save you guys, get out of there. We tied a rope to an arrow and shot it out there, and we're like, just ride down the rope, just jump down, you guys can escape. And we're having this shouting match, and I'm rolling my best charisma saves, get out of there, this is a bad idea, we're getting out of here, come with us. And this interchange took so long that almost everyone in that tower got killed and then the dragon just left.
Yep.
And, I mean, like, per the written rules of the game, we did that wrong.
Yeah.
But
you get bonus experience for saving people in the turret by attacking the dragon. But how would you possibly know that? Why would you do that?
I mean, I feel like as a first level character, having never really encountered a dragon before as a character and a player in this game, why would I do that?
Yeah.
My natural instinct would be to hide and hope that it all blows over.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, and per game mechanic, we were penalized for doing that.
Yep.
So that's the thing.
Yeah, there's a thing. Time in?
Well, why don't we just jump to the sneaking around thing for the third part of the...
Oh, yeah.
So...
They broke the game.
Yeah, well, and I feel like we were founded in how we did it.
Yeah, you guys weren't out of line.
Because what happened is, on the whole way to this next camp that we were heading to, every time we ran into an NPC, an enemy NPC, they just attacked us on sight.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a canyon, and they were dropping rocks on us, and all this stuff. Every turn we had, we were being attacked by these guys. And then at the camp, what you're supposed to do is just sort of walk in like it's no big deal and like you belong. Like, you're supposed to observe potentially observe the fact that people are just coming and going all the time. And you're just supposed to waltz right in. But it's like, why would they have attacked us every step of the way on the way here, knowing nothing about who we are, if anybody could just walk right in? Why would they drop boulders on us on the way in if we could just be Joe Schmo guy coming to walk into this camp?
No.
So when we got to the camp, our first instinct was like, shit, like, there's a ton of guys in this camp. How can we sneak in and do
Hundreds
of guys. How can we sneak into this camp and do what we have to do to get what we need and get out? Like,
it was a role-playing kind of reconnaissance kind of chapter. Not once you get to the camp, there's not combat. You're not gonna fight hundreds of people. You just kind of sneak in and chat with some people and maybe rescue some people and maybe you leave.
Yeah, but everything that had happened in the game thus far gave us the they're after us. They know we're not with them, because why would they have had every single guard attack us rather than like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then we could have had the opportunity earlier to say like, oh, we're here to come check out the camp. We were sent by guy.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, okay, come on through. But that never happened. It was just everyone was supposed to attack us.
And unfortunately for you guys, had you captured and interrogated a human, they could have told you that. But you captured and interrogated a kobold, which, as per the game mechanic as written in here, they will tell you whatever they think you want to hear and just lie to you. So the information was out there, but you picked the wrong of the two kinds of enemies to interrogate.
Right, and it just so happened that we killed everyone else before we got a chance to knock out a kobold to interrogate it.
Yeah. So, in the broken game.
Yeah. So that was just something that happened, and it was just like, I don't know, the way the game had led us to believe things would be playing, and again, we did a really good job of not metagaming the game. Like, we're first level characters, we shouldn't fight. We're not gonna get killed by a dragon, and like, we're second level characters, we're not gonna fight hundreds of people. But like, we really did stick in character, and we're like, there's no way to do this.
Yeah.
Like, and unfortunately for us, that didn't work with the way the game wanted you to think. But, I don't know, it was counterintuitive.
Yeah.
So. Time in.
Time in! Sorry, that went a little longer. Some of the cool things and some of the non-cool things about how this is done is they give you a variant experience option rather than calculating the experience for the enemies killed. And it also has things for like bonus experience for saving people and bonus experience for doing something sneakily or doing something stealthily or even avoiding combat. You get the experience, a lot of the times you get the experience you would have gotten from killing it for not killing it. They give you a variant option where you just level up every episode.
Yeah.
Which can be cool, can be not cool. There are some episodes...
do anything, really.
Yeah. Where you'll fight, I don't know, 10 guys, maybe get 1,000 experience, and at this point you're level 5 or 6, where that's not even getting you 1/10 of the way to what you need for the next to level up.
But had you done milestone, you'd get that level, essentially.
But, the other side of it is you're playing the entire first episode as a first level character, where I think you need to kill 12 enemies, 12 kobolds will get you level 2. And within the first 2 encounters, you got 12 kobolds.
Yeah.
So you'd be level 2 before before you're
halfway through.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of encounters right off the bat.
And there's a huge difference between level 1 and level 3.
Yeah.
Which you can get easily in Chapter 1.
Right, and that's very beneficial to you in a lot of ways. And it could potentially make the fact that you're going to probably be going back-to-back on a lot of these fights. Because per the game mechanic, you would potentially gain full health and potentially more spells and a unique mechanic for your class of some kind by the time you hit, level 3. Level 3.
Yeah.
Or level 2 even.
True.
So that's, I guess, Hoard of the Dragon Queen. Why don't you talk a little bit about Rise of Tiamat, since that one came out after, how you think it compares to Hoard of the Dragon Queen at this point?
So far, okay, the book itself is put together in a really confusing way for the Rise of Tiamat. They're still broken up into episodes, but the episodes aren't listed linearly.
Yeah.
So there is... The way it works is there's 3 councils of Waters Deep, and at each one you get missions to try and help bring down Tiamat or prevent the rise of Tiamat.
Mm-hmm.
So it tells you what happens at each of these. There's Death of the Worm Speakers, where you're trying to take out 2 Worm Speakers, and they're fighting dragons over here, and you're getting attacked over here. But the order that they happen in aren't the order they're in the book. So, the first mission that they send you on happens, and then the first half of the second chapter happens, and then the second half of the first chapter, then the first half of the third chapter, then the second half of the second chapter. So it was really weird going from this, which is very, very linear, you do one thing, then you do the next thing, to kind of jumping all over the place, and then still trying to keep a linear game going.
Right.
Which was kind of difficult. Or not difficult, just kind of an adjustment, going from one to the other. But other than that, I'm liking the content of Hoard of the Dragon Queen. It's giving me a lot more options, which I feel like you need to... Rise of Tiamat. Which I feel like you need to do once your characters get higher levels. Because they're going to level up differently. They're going to pick their skills differently. So you can't... I feel like pre-planning what you're going to throw at a 3rd level character works easier than pre-planning what you're going to throw at a 13th level character.
Sure.
You, as a DM, kind of need more flexibility, and it gives you that in Rise of Tiamat.
It's only milestone-based, something to point out. It's designed for milestone-based level.
Yeah, but also the milestones in that are also weird and arbitrary. I can talk about this because you've already done it. At one point, I guess timeout spoilers. After the first councils of Waters Deep, you get attacked by the cult. It's called the Cult Strikes Back, and it's one battle. That's it. You just get attacked by the cult, and that's a milestone. You get a level for getting attacked by the cult in one battle.
And you told me it could be it could be just dudes.
Yeah, it's supposed to be easy for the team, because the storyline behind it is they know that you're against them, but they underestimate you greatly. So they throw something. It's it's a couple of cultists, and maybe a half dragon is with them. But at this point, none of that's hard.
Yeah. Well, level wise, we are a little over leveled, I think.
Yeah, you guys are a little OP.
But we're a little. Part of that, or most of the reason that that's the case, though, is due to the stuff we achieved in Hoard of the Dragon Queen.
Yeah.
Gaining that sword from the end of Hoard of the Dragon Queen is crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you are. Anybody that can wield that sword is a crazy.
It's like Hazaran, and it's a +2 to hit, and plus 2d6 damage.
On top of the standard.
Has spells and is sentient.
Yeah. And that's a thing that you can gain. And you do gain a fairly substantial amount of magic items playing through this, and you encounter more in Rise of Tiamat.
Yeah.
So.
Tiamat?
Yeah. Tiamat. So yeah, I guess we should just say that Hoard of the Dragon Queen is to get you to about level 8-ish.
Yep.
And Rise of Tiamat's, I think, 8 to 15, maybe 16, 17, depending on where you started.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing, because these are milestone-based things, it's another, like, if you did decide to throw in, like, your players are like, you know what, we're at a good breaking point here in the Rise of Tiamat, or in between, and you're like, we want to go on a quest to find this magic item, or we want to go on a quest to learn more about this, or whatever, and, you know, you do that, they gain experience, the milestones are still set to level them up at the completion of each milestone, so they're going to be a higher level, because it's just going to, you know, so you may need to alter, add more enemies, or tougher enemies as things happen.
Yep.
So that is, I guess, the Rise, Tyranny of Dragons storyline. I'll talk a little bit about Mines of Phandelver, not too much. I've only played through the first half. It gets you through to about level 5. It's similar to this, although I do think it's better written, I think, because it does have, it gives you the option, again, the experience or milestone, but it gets you to about level 5, and it actually isn't a bad jumping point to go. You could use that to then segue into Hoard of the Dragon Queen and start the players off higher, and then, you know, continue to just upscale from there. It's a pretty good, you go in dungeons and you do fight dragons, so it's a pretty good way to get people into the game.
Get you there.
As far as Princes of the Apocalypse goes, this is part of the Elemental Evil line. It does introduce in here a new race, the Genasi, which are the half-genie race. There is a Elemental Evil companion, like Player's Companion, which introduces 4 or 5 other races, which is free to download. Having played through a little bit of this in the Adventure League, my DM is kind of using this as a loose guideline, but having flipped through the book, this campaign is designed to start you at level 3. So you have a couple of options here. You can make up something, adventures to get your players from 1 to 3. You could just start them at level 3. You could play Lost Mines of Phandelver to get through to 5 and then just upscale in the beginning here. Or in the back, they actually have starting adventures that you can use to, like, players complete these things and kind of get themselves established in a town to get them to level 3, which is cool. It also has other stuff in here about, you know, the history of the Cult of Elemental Evil and how that all works, and various local places and things.
Actually, that was something that we didn't talk about.
What?
How kind of on the nose they are with the names. So in Tyranny of Dragons, you're fighting the Cult of the Dragon. And the first time I mentioned that to the party, they were like, whoa, 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 they call themselves a cult? Like,
yeah.
That's a... No one calls it, like, the Manson family.
Yeah.
Didn't call themselves... That was a cult. You don't... That's like a negative word. You wouldn't refer to yourself as that.
Right.
So that was something right off the bat where I was like, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nope, this has information about the factions in it. And what I like in the beginning is it has adventure hooks to get your players started. So, like, I'll just grab one right here. It says Hired Hand. Homesteaders who were kind to workers are now missing. Characters set out to have revenge and rescue any survivors. Defeating the Kanku in Area A2 of the Temple of the Howling Hand earns the character's inspiration, as does rescuing some people. So it's ways to get your players to get tied into the adventure, tied into a background, and also get them inspiration, which I kind of like. I think it's a neat way to kind of work that in. And then again, it actually has minor factions, which is nice, which you have the potential to join, but you won't have the benefits of the greater factions.
Okay.
Like the Elves of the High Forest, they are a faction. The Hand of Yartar, the famous chronicler of Volo, once said that everyone in Yartar is after money and power. So you can join that. There's the Knights of Samular and the Uthgard tribes, which I believe are orcs. Maybe not. Yeah, I think so. And then again, obviously, it tells you. What it's nice, it actually gives you, like, if your characters played through Lost Mines of Phandelver, it gives you several hooks for, like, why the players would continue on after completing that and how they would get into this campaign. And what it also is it has things that's called side treks in here, which are essentially side quests of varying levels that, if you want to take a break from the main storyline or your players are looking for something to do, you can do one of these side treks. And I believe it has different ones for, here's one designed for 3rd level characters, 4th level characters, 5th level characters, 6th, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So, just ways to break that up, and this one is designed only for experience, not for milestone.
Okay, cool.
So that is a way to get more experience to the players. It also has expanded spells. This has all of the elemental evil spells, which
some of them are real cool.
Some of them are really cool. They're all tied, obviously, to the elements and that kind of stuff, which is unfortunate. No paladin, no cleric spells.
Yeah.
There's also some new magic items in here. Most of them are legendary items that fit the campaign setting.
But, I mean, there are no new paladin or cleric spells, but some of them make sense for the different domains.
True. Like
so,
light.
Yeah, light for the light domain.
Yeah.
I think in our game I gave the Tempest cleric
Some of the
access to Thunderclap.
Yeah.
So,
or there are wind, storm sphere.
Yeah, so there are no direct cleric or paladin spells, but stuff that makes sense for them that you could throw in if you wanted.
Warding wind. Yeah, so there's that. There is, like I said, there's new magic items. Most of them are legendary and tied to the storyline, but there are a couple that aren't legendary. Most of them are, again, very tied to campaign, because you're going to be running into different elements. Bottled breath, which is essentially like a scuba tank.
Oh, cool.
So that's a thing that you could use, but that fits with the setting. And there are new enemies as well that are tied, again, to the various elements. And then, there's the main storyline, which will get you from 1 to 15, which I like because it's, rather than 2 books getting you to 15, this is one book that does the whole thing, and it's a cohesive story.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that it's designed to start with higher level characters because you're supposed to essentially get established and prove that you're decent adventurers before you get this higher calling to deal with this cult. And there's a lot of foreshadowing, which I like.
Oh, that's cool.
You're kind of you might see a symbol that is a symbol for the temple of elemental evil, of elemental earth, but you don't know what it is. And you're just play it off like it's not a big deal, and you find out later, oh, holy shit, that was that.
That was the thing I needed.
And I think there is, again, it's the same kind of deal with magic items. I think one of the first side quests can get you a wand of magic missile.
That's sweet.
So something useful for a first level character.
Yeah.
There's other stuff built in here for magic items, which is kind of nice. I think in flipping through, I saw something cool where it was they do things if you're a good aligned cleric or a fighter, this ghostly spirit might give you an item.
Okay.
Which is nice because that's not normally a fighter doesn't get a whole lot of stuff. Or there's stuff that's tied to your different races. If you're a dwarf in this dwarven crypt, you might potentially get something out of it where nobody else could.
That's cool.
So I kind of like.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that in Hoard of the Dragon Queen. Nothing tied to your alignment. Nothing. I mean, the cool magic sword that you get is neutral evil, but it doesn't prevent a lawful good character from using it. So there's nothing really tied to race or class.
Yeah, I think it was there's a dwarven cave somewhere where you can get a special dwarven hammer, only if you're a dwarf and only if you do the right things up to that point. But nobody else could do it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's real cool.
Yeah, and I think different priests and stuff like that, and I like the elemental evil storyline. It has to do with the princes of the apocalypse, obviously by the name. So it's pretty good, and it's nice to have new races and a bunch of new stuff that's official canon rather than playtest stuff.
One of the cool things that I wanted to say about Genasi is, we talked about how in the player's handbook is really you can play any race with any class, but there are some that are better for certain things depending on their stat boost. Their stat boost is Constitution. Everything needs Constitution. So
and the subclasses hit pretty much everything. I think it's Dex, Wisdom, Intelligence, and Strength.
Yeah. So they're cool. Check them out. And I think it's nice that the first book they had with new characters lend themselves easily to anything you want to play them as.
True. So that's, I think, pre-written campaigns. I don't really have anything else to say.
No, I'm good.
I guess just at the point of this, there is a couple other ones. Their Underdark theme seems to be the new ones that are going to be coming out. I think it's going to have something to do with Drizzt because he's on the front cover of one of the the new books. So it looks like Underdark is going to be the next theme for the pre-written campaigns. So just keep that in mind. Possibly by the time you're watching it, it's already out.
Who knows?
But I know Wizards of the Coast has also potentially talked about converting a lot of their old stuff into 5th edition. In fact, they are in the process of doing a live stream where they converted the old 2nd edition Temple of Elemental Evil, kind of in theme with this. They converted that whole thing into 5th edition. So it's not available for anybody to play.
But they're
doing a live stream of it.
That's cool.
So be on the lookout for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, check it out.